those brave men and women who put their lives on the line to keep us safe. The government is launching a plan which pledges to help veterans secure high-paid jobs after they leave the armed forces. Well, Rishi Sunak met veterans in London earlier today to launch the scheme, which will be backed by £2.1 million in new funding. Well, I'm joined now in our Westminster studio, delighted to say, by GBNews reporter Charlie Peters. Charlie, welcome to the studio on this beautiful Friday afternoon. So, the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, today setting out his tanks on Tories' lawns, making a big play on defence, 2.5% GDP, plus pledges to go nuclear. Rishi has also been out and about. What's his pledge?
Well, this £2.1 million is part of a new drive called Operation Prosper, and it's about connecting employers with veterans to secure them in new high-paid roles. There's not a lot of clarity on what that actually means, but they're talking about pathways and connecting businesses with veterans. In 2022, the government announced a national insurance tax relief for any company that employed veterans in their first role after service. We do know they're going to extend that deal to those employers to help bring more of that work to be done. But they're pointing about needing veterans to get into areas of work where they're not typically associated. And one of the industries they've listed is professional services. That's now one of the country's biggest exporters. Britain became the fourth largest exporter in the world this week, according to the UN, with professional services now making up £185 billion. So quite a significant drive from the government here. Labour, in reaction, have said the Shadow Veterans Minister Steve McCabe has said that this is a step in the right direction, not criticising the move, but he did say that it comes as the Tories have failed the veteran community for the last 14 years and pointed to them halving funding for veteran support. This comes on the back of several packages that the Veterans Minister Johnny Mercer has announced in the last few years. There was Operation Courage in 2021, which was a mental health support drive. 30,000 signed up for that. And last year there was also Operation Fortitude, about ending veteran homelessness. And we attended one of their launch events in Aldershot when that came about. However, the government pledged to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2023. We certainly haven't achieved that, with figures actually rising on the last year.
OK, Charlie Peters, an excellent summary as ever. Let's get now the thoughts of the former British Army officer Patrick Benham-Crosswell, who joins us. Patrick, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure. So Rishi Sunak pledging £2.1 million today to help veterans find well-paid work. My question to you is simple. Is it enough, or is it too little too late?
I think it's lunacy. There are about 50,000 people leave the armed forces every year, so £2.1 billion is 140 quid a head. Well, that doesn't change anything. I mean, it looks to me like the government trying to find a nice headline about a group who it rightly or wrongly views as being perhaps its natural supporters. Most veterans leave the armed forces with their skills very much in demand, and they move seamlessly into employment. There is a culture shock on the way things are done in the commercial world as opposed to the military, and that cuts both ways. I mean, let's not forget that 25,000 servicemen, that's 15% last year, were found to be living in substandard accommodation by housing inspectors. So, there's not a huge problem for most veterans in getting employment. I mean, many firms, I won't reel off the names, many firms actively seek them. And you find that, if you Google job for a veteran. Separately is Operation Courage. The veterans who are either suffering mental health issues or obviously being disabled as a result of combat, yes, of course they need help. Operation Courage, I think, got 18 million over 3 years. Another 2 million in there might have been a better idea, but that wouldn't be such a good headline.
Do you think that part of the issue is that we seem to be crying out for the skills that veterans can offer, but not just in areas that, like tech and all the rest of it, but what about like police officers? I mean, the discipline, the physical fitness that veterans bring, they'd be excellent police officers, and yet now we seem to place so much kind of prowess upon academic qualifications.
Indeed, I mean, there's always the mismatch between military qualifications, which can be quite narrow, and those in the wider community. But there are a number of armed forces veterans in most of the services, be it the police, the medics, fire service. These are capable guys, and they don't necessarily want to take a job that comes with perhaps the stress of being a policeman. Not a job I would ever want. I think we're living in a world of gesture politics, and I think that's impacting adversely on policy across the board. I mean, your earlier piece on the barge in Portland bill, £54,000 a year to house an illegal immigrant, or 140 quid a year to get a job for a veteran. Where the priorities are.
Yeah, I think that will resonate with a lot of people. Thanks for joining us on the show. And that's former British Army officer Patrick Benham Crosswell. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure.